Welcome learners. I am Dr. Ramudan from School of Management, Sastra University. I welcome to the session Storekeeping and Warehousing. Storekeeping is a service function which deals with the physical storage of the goods under the custodianship of a person called as a storekeeper or a store controller. Goods stored may be either stores or stocks. Unworked materials or raw materials are usually called as stores, and the place where they are kept are known as storerooms. Finished products which are ready for shipment are usually called as stocks and are housed in a stockroom. Storekeeping is therefore an aspect of material which is concerned with the physical storage of the goods. So stores is said to be the raw material which is ready for further processing, and they stock among the finished goods, and it will be stored in a stock room, otherwise called as a warehouse. W-A-R-E, where we mean the finished goods. A house where the ware is kept. So stores always we mean the raw materials which are sent to the production departments for processing, and finished products will be the completed products which are ready for consumption and to be marketed in the market. So with a brief description about the stores and the finished goods, we shall now see about the types of stores. Functionally, the stores are of 5 types: receiving store, main store, finished product store, that is the warehouse, special store, and the scrap yard. We shall see each of these 5 types in detail. First one is the receiving store. Receiving store performs the activities that are necessary to exercise the control over the quantity and the quality of purchased materials before they are accepted and taken into stock. This receiving store may be further divided into inward stores, quarantine stores, rejection stores. So receiving store is said to be a store which is actually received and it is accepted, and the control over the quality and quantity is made. So this receiving store, as mentioned, is divided into 3 main subdivisions, namely the inward stores, quarantine stores, and rejection stores. Inward stores is said to be the stores wherein the incoming materials are kept until they are accepted and taken into stock. Now we just visualize a scene wherein the materials are received by the storekeeper now from the vendors or the suppliers. When it is received, it is the duty of the storekeeper to check up the quantity and quality of the stores, whether it is as per the orders placed or as per the samples shown or as per the specifications given by the buyer. So if the stores are checked by the storekeeper and it is up to the satisfaction, then that will be arranged in the stores. Till then, they are kept in a place called as the inward stores. So inward stores are those stores which are received but yet to be checked for the quality and quantity. So before accepting the goods and then after the inspection, these goods are placed in this place. Next is the quarantine store. Quarantine store is a place where the materials are placed in a temporary manner, wherein there is a dispute between the supplier and the buyer. Say for example, if the materials are damaged during the transit, then the buyer has to inform the vendor regarding the damages, and the vendor has to verify the certification given by the transporters agency, and he has to receive about the report regarding the discrepancy in the quantity and what is the actual damage that has been caused during the transit. So after receiving the certification from the transport corporation or a transporting agency, whether it may be a road or rail or air, so this certification will be verified by the vendor and then they have to accept the damages. So till then there will be a dispute here women, there is a discrepancy of opinion between the vendor and the buyer, namely the buying agency. Now, these stores are placed in a place called as quarantine stores. That is, the approval from the vendor is pending regarding the damages of the materials. Next is the rejection stores. Rejection stores are those stores in which the non-conforming items means the items which are not as per the order placed, then these non-conforming items are placed and it will be sent back to the suppliers after the due notification. So when we say the receiving stores is the stores that has been received by the storekeeper, and this receiving stores will be divided into three: inward stores, then quarantine stores and the rejection stores. So inward stores are those stores which are received but it is expected to be checked with the quantity and the quality. So till the checking has been completed, it is placed in the inward stores. Quarantine stores is any damages caused during the transit. So with the transporter certification, it waits for the approval of the vendors. So that is called as quarantine stores. Now rejection stores are those stores which are not conforming to the requirements and it is sent back to the suppliers. The second major classification is the main stores. Main stores performs the activities concerning with the storage and issue of accepted materials and maintenance of the records. The main stores may be either centralized and housed in a large godown or decentralized and located near its point of use. Now, when we have a centralized purchasing, it will be placed in the main place and then it will be transported to the production departments as per the requirements. Suppose if this main store is decentralized and located near its point of use, nearby the production departments, then that will be issued directly to the production departments. So the storage place will depend upon the volume of consumption by the production departments. Now this main stores is said to be the stores which are said to be the accepted items after the inspection. This main stores may take the form of craft stores, finished part stores, plant stores, sub-stores, etc. When we say the crib stores, to stock cutting tools, hand tools, measuring instruments, the gauges will be taken as the crib stores. So this crib stores will be issued at the beginning of the shift and it will be collected at the end of the shift. So when we have the cutting tools, hand tools and whatever measuring instruments the production department is going to use during the production, those are taken as the crib stores. Then finished product store. The finished product stores are said to be the spare parts of the plants and machineries which are used during the production. Then the maintenance stores. Maintenance stores is said to be the spare parts of the plant and machinery. Sub-stores or raw material stores will be the castings, forgings, moldings which require a lot of space and can be stocked only in the areas which are open yards. So the main stores may be crib stores, finished product stores, then plant stores and again the sub-stores. Next comes the warehouse. Warehouse, as we already said, it's a finished product. So when the finished products are stored and it is concerned with the packaging and packing and dispatch of the finished goods to different destination and handling of the connected papers and documents, that is called as the warehouse or the finished product store. This finished product store is entirely different from the finished part store discussed under main stores. Finished part store is the spare parts which are to be placed in the plant and machinery, but this finished product is ready for consumption in the market. So we have the packaging activities and the packing activities. Packing activities will definitely protect the main product, and it may be a wooden box, or it may be an aluminum foils, or it may be steel boxes, and whatever may be the type of material that is used for packing to protect the quality of the product. Packaging is said to be an art, wherein this packaging consists of labeling, giving the item description, and how to handle the products, and the instructions for the usage, etc. So packaging is different from packing. Packing is the first activity which protects the quality of the product. It is placed in a box, or it may be placed in a wooden box or a metal box, or even in the glass bottles, etc. But in case of packaging, it is said to be an art, wherein the complete description of the product and how to handle the product, the selling price, the date of manufacture, etc. Then that will be given in the packaging. So this is concerned with the finished product stores. Next is the special stores. Special stores performs the activities of receipt, storage and issue of the special materials, and these materials may be bonded stores, statutory stores and temperature controlled stores. Bonded stores may be the stores which are hypothecated to the banks. That is, say for example, when a manufacturer stores his own stock in a store, and he is giving the stores as a hypothecation, because the hypothecation can be received on the movable goods. So the bank credit can be received by the manufacturer by hypothecating the stores in his own place. So he can use the stores, but the limit should be maintained to equal the hypothecation amount. That is what is bonded stores. The stores are bonded with the bankers or with the financial institutions from which the stores are being given as a collateral security. Next is we have the statutory store. Statutory stores were meant the stores which are to be preserved with the statutory conditions, that is the safety precautions as per the statutory regulations, namely the kerosene, diesel and the petroleum products which are to be stored with the strict conformance like acids, etc. Then the temperature controlled stores. There are certain stores that should be stored in a temperature controlled place. Like say for example the perishable items like milk products, the vegetables, fruits, etc. So these items must be stored in a place where it is to be controlled with the temperature. So special stores requires special attention and special storage, that is the bonded stores, statutory stores and the temperature controlled stores. Next is we have the scrapyard. Scrapyard is said to be a place where the receipts and the segregation and storage of different types of scraps. The scrap means the product which will result after the processing. So we will have these scraps that should be sold after the usage. It is not a main product, but it is the products which will result after the further processing. Say for example, the molasses in the sugarcane industry, right? So we have the cotton waste, etc. So all these things will be taken as a scrapyard. So we have the types of stores as receiving stores, main stores, finished product stores, special stores and the scrapyards. Next one is we shall see about the scope of the storekeeping. Why should a storekeeper maintain the stores in a proper manner? The functioning of a store needs to be organized to perform the functions of the store's maintenance. Say, requisition from the purchase department for an economical quantity of the material for delivery at the most appropriate time is said to be the major function regarding the storekeeping. So when we say the requisitions from the purchase department, what are the basic requirements? It may be for a year or it may be for a quarter or it may be for half a year or fortnight or week, whatever may be the time period the storekeeper is going to maintain. So the requisitions from the purchase departments will be received and economical quantity should be ordered to have the ordering cost and the maintenance cost or the carrying cost to be minimum. So the deliveries must be made only at the appropriate time. Then exercising control over the quantity of the materials received is said to be the major function of the storekeeping. Then storing and protecting of materials against the hazardous conditions or the climates or deteriorations in qualities and the pilferages. Next is the issuing materials against properly authorized material requisition slips. When we say material requisition slips, it is the slip prepared by the production department requisitioning the storekeeper to issue the materials. So these material requisition slips, popularly called as MRS, will be given by the production departments to the stores that is asking for or requesting for the materials. So on the basis of this MRS, the storekeeper is going to issue the materials, and we shall see the different methods of issuing the materials in the later class. Then maintaining the records of all receipts, issues and balance of the materials left to facilitate the ordering of materials required. So when we say the stores when it is received after checking about their quality and the quantity, it will be placed in the bins. So a card will be attached with the bins. A bin is a place where the materials are stored. So a card will be attached with the bins, that is called as the bin cards. So in this bin card, the quantities will be recorded. The receipt of the quantity, issue of the quantity and the balance of the materials will be recorded. So at any one point of time, a storekeeper can easily ascertain the balance of the materials left, and he can easily anticipate what is to be ordered next and when to be ordered and how to be ordered. Then maintenance of adequate stocks of materials to serve the production needs. So by seeing to the different levels of inventories that is mentioned here, then the storekeeper is able to maintain adequate stocks to serve the requirements of the production departments. Then the storekeeper has to arrange for the inspection of the materials received. So whatever materials that has been received by the storekeeper, he has to arrange for the inspection of the quantity and the quality. Then the stock verification should also be done by the storekeeper in accordance with the procedures laid down by the management. It may be a periodical stock verification or it may be a continuous stock verification, and the physical verification of the stock will be maintained by the made by the storekeepers. Then keeping the investment in the inventories within the limits prescribed by the management. So these are all the main scope of storekeeping, that is requesting the purchase department to know about the economical quantity to be ordered and it should be delivered at the proper time. Then control over the quantity, then checking about the quantity and the quality, then protecting the materials against the hazardous conditions, and then issuing the materials based on the material requisition slips, then maintaining all the records of the receipts, issues and the balance, then maintaining the adequate stock to maintain the production in a very continuous manner without any hindrances, and again arranging the materials and verifying the materials periodically, keeping the investments within the desired limits. Based on the scope of storekeeping, we shall now see about the functions of a storekeeper. The major functions and duties of the storekeeper are as follows. The first one is identifying all the materials stored, then receipt of the incoming goods, inspection of all the receipts of materials, storage and preservation of the materials, handling the materials in a scientific manner, then packing the materials, maintaining the stock records, issuing and dispatching of materials, accounting for the stores, then control over the inventory, then stock taking and then the salvaging. We shall now see all these functions in detail. First one is the identification. Identification is a process of systematically defining and describing all items of materials in stock. It includes the preparation of source code or vocabulary, the adoption of material specifications and introduction of the degree of standardization. In certain cases, the part of this job is done by the designing or planning or the standard departments and sometimes by the purchase department. So the identification will be done according to the codification and standardization. As we already saw, the codification and standardization will lead to simplification and the items that are needed is easily identified. Next is the inspection. The inspection involves the examination of the incoming consignments for quality. Very often, there will be a separate quality control or inspection department which undertakes this job. Otherwise, the goods are inspected by the store's personnel himself. Whatever may be the system of inspection in use in an organization, it is the duty of the stores department to ensure that the inspection procedures laid down or carried out before the materials are accepted into stock. As we already saw in the types of stores, the inspection about the quality and quantity will be checked or will be made before the items are accepted. So the receiving stores must be properly checked by the storekeeper and it should be arranged in a bin. Then a receipt. Receipt is the process of checking and accepting from all sources. That is, it may be a vendor source or it may be a production place or the repairing place, etc. All the materials and parts which are used in the organization must be properly received and it must be properly checked and accepted. These includes the supplies for manufacturing or opening processes. Now it may be for plant maintenance or it may be for the capital items installations. Then storage and preservation. Items that are required to be binned and kept in a storage bins or racks or shelves or sometimes in the yard. The location is usually indicated in the transaction card itself. The storage period may vary from 1 day or 1 year, even more, depending upon the recoupment procedures or safety stock required, etc. Storage is said to be a physical act of storing the materials. So there is a common saying that a place for everything and everything in its place. So we call it as material order. We have to find a place for everything and everything in its place. So right materials must be kept in a right place. So preservation involves the maintenance of materials to retain their shape, quality, etc. Sometimes the temperature, the humidity or the dust or some other factors may deteriorate the quality of the materials. So it must be properly preserved. Then material handling. Material handling involves the movement of the materials and handling of the materials. The movement and handling of materials may be made manually or mechanically. There are heavy items and inflammable items and which is said to be of very delicate items which are to be handled in different methods. Either it may be manually or mechanically. It has to be decided by the storekeeper. Then packing. Materials dispatched to the customers from the finished goods store, that is from one store to another store at a different location, need to be packed. So materials require appropriate packing as per their physical form and this may vary from heavy wooden crates to an ordinary paper cartons. The issue and the dispatch. This is the process of receiving the intents, picking the items required and handing them over to the users or dispatching them to the customers. So issue and dispatch is said to be the major function of the storekeeper again. Then maintenance of stock records. These are the documents which record the daily and full particulars about the receipts of the materials individually and once again the issue and balances of the materials in the stores. Then accounting for the stores. Stores accounting is a process of recording details of stock movements and balances in terms of the financial value. It is sometimes undertaken by the accounts department, but there are advantages if the same is handled by the stores. So in practice, it is often found that such an arrangement saves a good deal of work and avoids duplication. It has an added advantage of making the store's personnel responsible for providing their own financial information which they themselves require for the purpose of inventory control. So the store's accounting or a store's ledger will be maintained outside the stores by the storekeeper himself, mentioning about the quantity and the value of the materials received, issued and the balance. So as we said earlier, bin card is placed in the bins mentioning only about the quantity, but the store's ledger is maintained outside the stores mentioning about the quantity and the value. So the issue of materials at different rates with the different methods of issue like LIFO, first in first out, last in first out, highest in first out, average stock price. So we have many methods of issuing the materials. So this value will also be mentioned in the stores. So the stores accounting can be placed as a responsibility of the stores department also. Then controlling the inventory. Inventory control is said to be an operation of continuously arranging the receipts and the issues in such a way as to ensure that the balances of the stock in quantity and also the value are adequate to support the current rate of consumption at all times with regard to the economy. It involves the related process of provisioning, which is a means whereby the instructions are given for placing of orders to correspond with the future estimated requirements. In some concerns, the production control department may have a large share in provisioning, at least as far as production materials are concerned. Nevertheless, this should always be a function of the stores. So, the inventory control is said to be the major function of a store, wherein the control over the level of the stock and the investment in the stock must be maintained only by the stores. Then the stock taking. Stock taking is said to be the physical verification of the quantity and the condition of the goods in the stores. So the stock taking, as we already discussed, it may be a periodical stock taking or it may be a continuous stock taking. Periodical stock taking movement, it may be checked annually or it may be half yearly or quarterly or weekly or fortnightly. But when we come to continuous stock taking, assume that we have 100 items in stores. The first 10 items will be checked on this week, next 10 items in the next week. So the same way that we have 20 times, once again the second round of checking will be made from the first. So that is called as continuous stock taking. This continuous stock taking gets a very great advantage that the obsolete materials, the good items which are actually damaged can be easily found out and the investment in the inventory can be properly maintained. Then salvaging. The salvaging movement, the materials which are unusable or the scrap or obsolete items or it may be far in the excess of the requirements have to be disposed of profitably. The defective materials can be corrected to make them usable. So certain materials can be made correct by having some rectification work. So those materials will be called as defective goods. And these defective goods may be corrected and may be rectified to make them as usable. So the main functions of a storekeeper involves the identification of the material store, the receipt of the materials, inspecting the materials, storing and preserving the materials, handling the materials, packing the materials and transporting it, maintenance of the stock records, issue and the dispatch of these materials, accounting for the stores received, issued and the balance, then control over the inventory, then the continuous stock taking and the salvaging of the stores. Based on the functions of a storekeeper, the responsibilities of the store's personnel can be derived. The major responsibilities are said to be the receipt of the goods, the accounting for the stores in the organization. Coming to the receipt of the goods, it includes receiving the incoming goods, assisting the unloading operations, counting and verifying the quantity, checking the damages and the shortages and preparing the report for the shortages, then filling the goods inward register, then completing the vendor consignment notes, then inspecting and arranging for inspection and complete the inspection speedily. Then prepare the goods rejection memo in case of goods rejected and send the goods to stores and the other documents to the respective departments. In case of the store office, he has the major responsibilities of ensuring the storage facilities are working in a proper condition. There is no any damaged racks or any other unsafe racks, etc. Then ensure good housekeeping. So the spillage of oil, the dirty walls and other obstructions may be removed then and there. Then report for the accidents and fill the accident register, checking the bin cards and renewing them if necessary. Report to the management of utilization factor and the idle time. Ensuring the first in first out of the issue of the goods. Observe the shelf life. Then note for your high, low and non-moving stocks, sometimes the slow moving stocks. Check for the physical condition of all the stocks. Ensure the steady flow of your materials. Check for the leaks and spillage, etc. Checking the suitability of packaging. Then clearing the waste packing materials. Then the nailed battens, binding tapes, etc. Check and count before issue. Then check the clerical and mechanical equipments, lighting, firefighting equipments and other appliances. So make entries in the bin cards promptly, ensuring the receipts and the issues. Then ensuring the rules and regulations relating to the physical custody and preservation of the stores, then accounting for the stores. So these are all the major responsibilities of a storekeeper. So put it in a nutshell, I'll just say how the stores will be issued. Now, when the order is placed with the vendor, a truck will come with the stores to the organization as per the order. When the truck is received at the factory gate, they are going to prepare 5 copies of the challan. One is given to the gatekeeper stating that such and such stores are entered into the factory. The second one will be given to the storekeeper to check for the quantity and the quality of the goods received. And the third one will be given to the purchase department stating that the materials have been received as per the order, as per the time of delivery. And the third one will be given to the cost accounting department to account for the cost of production. And the fifth one will be given to the finance department for the payment purposes. So when the stores are received at the factory gate, the 5 challans will be prepared. One is given at the factory gate, second one is at the stores, third one is to the purchase department, fourth one is to the accounting department, cost accounting department, and fifth one is to the finance department. After receiving the stores, the storekeeper has to unload it and he has to count it and check for the damages. If any damages are there, he has to report for the damages. He has to fill the inward register. Then he has to sign this challan stating that such and such consignment has been received by him. Then he has to say that the inspection has been carried out fully. If any damages are there, it has to be properly informed, put it in quarantine, or it may be placed in the rejection stores. And if the rejection stores are there, he has to prepare a goods rejection memo, and again he has to give the documents to the respective departments that the stores has been received. After receiving the stores, he has to ensure that the stores are being placed in a proper bins, a place for everything, and everything in its place. And he has to ensure that all the stores facilities are in proper working conditions and good housekeeping must be there. Then he has to avoid all the accidents. If any accidents happens, he has to fill the accident register, then check the bin cards, stores ledgers. If the renewal of the stores cards on your bin cards should be done, then the storekeeper has to renew it. Then report to the management regarding the utilization factor of the materials. Then ensure that first in first out is followed in your issue of goods. Then next is we have to observe the shelf life. Then identify the slow moving items, non-moving items, and we have the high moving items. Then check out the physical conditions of all the stocks continuously. Ensure a steady flow of the materials. Check for the hazardous materials. Check for the leakages and spillages. Then to find out the suitability of packaging materials and packing materials. Then before the issue, he has to count and check it. Then go for your electrical and mechanical equipment, lighting and firefighting equipments. Go and make the entries in the bin cards. Then entries in the stores ledgers must be promptly made, and he has to ensure the physical custody of all the stores. Then he has to account for the stores. So this is said to be the major and major responsibilities of a storekeeper. Let us now see the benefits of scientific storekeeping. Storekeeping is now realized as a science, as production or marketing. So it is a key result area of any management. Efficiency in production, maintenance and distribution largely depends upon the efficiency of the stores department and its own personnel at the operational level. Inventory management, with its impact on the profitability of the company, relies on the efficiency with which stores personnel maintain the records, implement the procedures and report on the performance. So scientific storekeeping is said to be a storekeeping based on a methodology or a few methods to be followed while receiving, instructing, storing and issuing. So we have proper methods of all the aspects of the storekeeping. Scientific stores management benefits the organization as follows. Scientific stock control reduces the loss due to the accumulation of inventories. So as we have an inventory control and control over the investment in the inventories, so it will avoid the accumulation of inventories. Once again, efficient issues will reduce the downtime in the production and increase the profits. So maintenance of a steady flow of materials by the stores department will definitely ensure a continuous flow of production. So it will reduce the downtime in the production, and once again it increases the profits of the organization. Then periodic review detects the obsolete and non-moving items and helps the organization to get rid of the unproductive inventory. So we have a periodical review of the stores, and it can easily mention or it can easily identify the non-moving and the slow-moving items, and we can go for the non-maintenance of those materials. Then the follow-up with the purchase helps to avoid the stockouts and consequently the production loss. So as we are maintaining the levels of inventories as per the requirements of the production departments, the stockouts can be easily avoided, and as the stockouts are avoided, the production loss can also be avoided. Proper record keeping produces the exact picture of the inventory in stores to the top management. So proper maintenance of bin cards and proper maintenance of the stores ledgers will definitely provide a clear picture to the management regarding the cost of materials consumed by the production departments individually, and also the total cost of stores that has been purchased during a particular period. So the stores manager or the storekeeper plays a very high role or an important role in maintaining the stores and issuing the materials or issuing the stores to the production departments. So he is said to be a crucial person or in a crucial place to ensure the smooth flow of production in the production departments. So the significance of storekeeper is highly felt in the production organizations, and he is the person who is going to manage the entire stores placed in an organization. So his role starts right from the identification of the materials till the disposal of the various damaged goods and identification of the slow and the non-moving goods. Hope you have understood the meaning of stores, the various types of stores, and the functions of a storekeeper, the responsibilities of storekeeper, and how to maintain the stores in a very scientific manner and what is the benefit of scientific storekeeping. So warehouses play a vital role in the operations of the company. It is a direct touch with the user departments in the day-to-day activities. The most important purpose served by the stores is to provide an uninterrupted service to the construction sites or the production sites. So stores are often equated directly with money, as money is locked up in the stores. However, according to the basic definition of the stores, we can place the activities that are related with the stores in a nutshell. Receipt of the goods, timely procurement of materials, accounting the transactions, minimizing the obsolescence, the surplus and the scrap by the proper identification and using correct preservation methods, ensuring the good housekeeping by accurately and timely updation, issue of the receipts, ensuring the issues and other documentation and handling other issues pertaining to the storage and the cleanliness. So this will definitely give a clear idea regarding the function of a storekeeper and the responsibilities of a storekeeper. Thank you.